It has been said that your past does not determine who you are. Your past prepares you for who you are to become. My past has seen a lot of cold gray mornings, the sun slowly rising behind heavy solemn clouds, gently illuminating the vast ice-covered waters. Spring is a rebirth. Winter slowly releases its grip. Nature begins to re-emerge from its long slumber. For those who make life on the lakes, spring is much the same. The ships come out of their hibernation and begin to ply their trades again. For some of us, it's just the start of another season. For others, maybe a fresh start on a new ship. And for a few, it's a rebirth, the start of a whole new life. Today was an evaluation trip, one to finalize the certification of the next generation captain. Earlier in the voyage, I was compiling crew information into the customs database. Looking at some of the birthdays, I realized that I am in fact slowly becoming the old man. It made me think back to when it was all new for me, the excitement of seeing things for the first time. I was mesmerized by the sheer size, the power of these massive machines bashing through the ice with smoke billowing out of their stack. I had the great fortune to experience the last of the old days, the end of an era of steamers and the tough generation of men who sailed them. These were some true veterans of the industry, some even starting during the Second World War. These were men that truly came from a different time, long before toolbox talks and HR complaints. They certainly didn't care about feelings. I sometimes reflect back on those days. I relished sitting and listening to the tales of times long gone on the lakes. If they didn't like you, you got a nickname. Probably not a very nice one. If they did like you, you probably got a nickname as well. Hopefully something just a bit more flattering. I had one old-timer tell me very early on, if no one is taking the piss out of you, that's when you have something to worry about.
So have you ever wondered what it sounds like to go through the ice in a 700-foot boat?
Well, this was me 20 years ago, a young kid, a couple of days into a new ship, in a new position. I'd been promoted to chief officer near the end of the previous season. I'd been expecting to return to the steamer Saginaw, but received a different call just a couple days earlier. On the line was our crewing director at the time. She asked me how fast I could get to Sault Ste. Marie. We were in the midst of a late March blizzard. It had been a tough winter, and it was going out like a lion, as they say. The steamer Mishpecotton was in the process of fitting out on a tight deadline and was missing their chief mate, who was en route to the vessel on the Canadian side. I told her I would pack my bags, be on the road within the hour, and I'd take the U.S. side and be in the Soo by the morning. When I arrived at the ship, I could see that the steam was up and everyone was standing by ready to let go as soon as I arrived. I boarded and made my way to the wheelhouse. I was greeted by Captain Carlson. He was a bit of a legend in our fleet. If the industry's the NHL, well, he's Wayne Gretzky. I asked him if Nipples made it. Doug Finch was the chief mate on the Mishpecotton, a charismatic guy, a few years older than me. We had worked together a bit in the past. The captain had a worried look. He shook his head and he confirmed what I had already suspected. Chief Lloyd Good was an equally charismatic man who joined his first ship in Goderich in 1945. He had a gold hard hat and a lead filter. He had this uncanny ability to look a new kid up and down, assign him a nickname that was guaranteed to stick. Doug got Nipples, because the previous year he had pierced one of his nipples. Everyone liked Doug. He got one of the good names. The vessel departed the steel mill in the Soo within minutes of me boarding, and we headed out into a very frozen Whitefish Bay. The destination was Marquette. No one could guess how long that would take. Anyone who has played in Whitefish Bay after a bad winter could understand why. It didn't take long before we were beset. Captain Carlson and I sat in the wheelhouse drinking coffee and listening to the local Sault Ste. Marie radio station while we waited for the Mackinac to arrive. She was on her way to break us out. The Mackinac was the old-school powerhouse icebreaker on the lakes, launched at Toledo in 1944, the year before Lloyd started sailing. The news came on the radio, and they announced a fatal traffic accident on the Trans-Canada Highway near Blind River. We looked at each other and we knew. It was confirmed by a call from our office a short time later. It was a solemn day for the ship. It is hard to lose one of the crew, especially this way. This would now mean that I wasn't just filling in any longer. It meant this was the first day in my new home for the next couple of years. Well, we made it to Marquette, and we would make it back many more times. Any first mate is a bit terrified of their first high dock load. It is as old school as it gets. Trains rumbling high overhead, the sound of millions of ore pellets sliding down steel chutes and bouncing and falling around you like marbles. It's a carefully choreographed ballet of tough men climbing from silo to silo, kicking large steel doors. It all plays out like an old, industrial, riveted, mighty orchestra, chutes lowering and raising. It is something that is hard to describe. I went on to load the Mishpecotton 94 times at that dock that year. I saw a lot of Marquette, and Whitefish Bay, and Sault Ste. Marie. I watched it roll into summer, then into fall, and right back into winter, where we got stuck in the ice, right where I started. I've had the good fortune to meet a lot of great people over the years. Many have become good friends. Of course, it has been sad to see many of those older fellows go, but just as the seasons change, so do the people, and the ships, and the docks. Many of those ships in those days are long gone, replaced by new ones, for better or for worse. Today I stand on our new ship in the fleet, working the spring ice of Whitefish Bay with a new Mackinac and a new crew, some of whom are hearing the ship bash through the ice for their first time. I can see that spark in them as they watch, just as I had on the Mishpecotton all those years ago. I learned a lot from those old ships and the veteran men who sailed them. John Carlson would go on to become one of my most significant mentors. Old Chief Lloyd, he would earn his own nickname. Myself and the other young guys of that era, we all affectionately called him Grampy. We would remain close long after he retired at the end of his 65th full season on the lakes. They just don't make men like that anymore. In the middle of last season, the Mishpecotton had a serious hull fracture incident that is likely going to end her career. Like those old fellas of my past, it is sad to see her go, but I will always carry a bit of them with me. Maybe your past doesn't determine who you are. Maybe it does prepare you for who you are to become. But I do know one thing. The experiences you have and the people you meet along the way all become a little part of you. And eventually, you become a bit of them.
How was your supper?
All right.
Turned out pretty good?
What does your shirt say today?
We did better than expected.
Only please one person.